This fake HOA cop was dragging my 15-year-old daughter by her hair across my own living room floor, her hands scrambling for anything she could grab, her voice breaking as she screamed, "Daddy, help, please." He didn't slow down, didn't loosen his grip, didn't even look back. He just snarled, "HOA protocol says she's coming with me." My daughter's heels scraped the hardwood as he yanked her toward the front door like she wasn't a teenage girl, but a problem he needed to remove. My wife was shouting from behind him, trying to pull herself up after slipping when she rushed in. Her voice cracked with terror. "Let her go! She didn't do anything!" And me? I stepped out of the hallway, Navy SEAL shirt still on from my morning workout, and froze for 1/2 second as I saw my little girl being dragged like a hostage. That half second was all I needed for every instinct I've ever had to ignite at once. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. Because to understand how a stranger felt bold enough to storm into my house, grab my teenage daughter by the hair, and try to drag her away under some made-up HOA protocol, you need the backstory. We'd only lived in this neighborhood for 3 weeks. Three, not even a full month. And on day one, the HOA president, Barbara Kellerman, decided she didn't like us. Not disliked, not irritated. She despised us on sight. The moment she saw my daughter Mia, she muttered under her breath, "Another loud teenager ruining the neighborhood aesthetic." Mia is the quietest kid I've ever known. Art, books, headphones. Not trouble, not disrespectful, not loud. But Barbara didn't care. She complained about Mia sitting on our own porch railing. She sent a warning letter claiming Mia's bike cluttered the driveway. She wrote a citation accusing Mia of improper public decorum for laughing with her friend. A citation for laughing. My wife tried speaking to Barbara politely. Barbara responded with a smirk and said, "If you won't discipline your daughter, the HOA will." That should have been the red flag. But I was at work through all of this, early briefs, late drills, and I didn't see how quickly Barbara's obsession escalated. Yesterday, she sent a letter stamped mandatory compliance review, demanding Mia report to the HOA office for behavioral evaluation. We tore it up. Today, Barbara decided to enforce it. She sent one of her self-appointed HOA enforcement officers, a thick-necked wannabe with a knockoff badge, a nylon vest, and the attitude of someone who thinks yelling equals authority. He opened our front door without knocking. He grabbed my daughter by her hair the moment she walked past the living room. She screamed. My wife ran in and fell trying to stop him, and I stepped out of the hallway, watching this man drag my daughter toward the exit like she was some object he was repossessing. I felt the world go silent. I raised my pistol, loaded, chambered, steady. The fake HOA cop finally noticed me. His hand froze in my daughter's hair. My voice dropped into something cold enough to make the walls shake. "Let go of my daughter." He turned slowly, smirked, and said, "Or what, tough guy?" He had no idea. No idea who he was talking to. No idea what kind of man had just walked into that room. No idea what kind of hell he had just opened the door to. Because in the next 10 minutes, he would regret ever stepping foot inside my house. I stepped closer, boots heavy on the floor. "Let her go," I said, slow, calm, the kind of calm that means danger. The fake HOA cop's eyes flicked between my pistol and my SEAL shirt. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. "You're not going to do anything," he sneered. "HOA authority overrides homeowner force. She violated inspection protocol. She's coming with me." My daughter whimpered as his fingers pulled at her hair again. My wife screamed at him to stop. He didn't even look at her. He just yanked harder. My daughter cried out in pain, a sound no father can ever hear without something inside him breaking open. My heartbeat didn't speed up, it slowed. Everything inside me went razor sharp, steady, controlled the way I'd been trained. "One more time," I said quietly. "Let her go." He didn't let go. He didn't hesitate. He didn't reconsider. He just snarled, "She broke HOA conduct laws. She's coming with—" I fired. Bang! The round tore into his thigh. His entire body jolted backward like a switch had been flipped. He screamed. High, sharp, panicked, and his hand finally released her hair. My daughter crawled across the floor into my wife's arms, shaking, sobbing. But the HOA cop, he still didn't stop. Still didn't understand. He rolled onto his back, clutching his bleeding leg, staring at me like he couldn't believe someone had dared to resist his fake authority. "You shot an HOA officer," he shrieked. "You can't do that. This is a violation of community law. She failed compliance. I stared at him, breathing slow, controlled. He kept ranting, kept screaming about HOA rules, kept yelling my daughter had violated neighborhood behavior standards, kept insisting he had legal custody rights over her because of some fake protocol he'd memorized. The longer he talked, the louder he got. The louder he got, the more my daughter cried, and the more she cried, the hotter my blood burned. "Shut your mouth," I warned. He didn't. He pointed at her again with a shaking, bloody finger and shouted, "She's non-compliant. I will—" Bang! The second round hit him in the side, not fatal, but enough to silence him instantly. He gasped, eyes rolling, body jerking before going limp. Blood pooled beneath him. His chest still rose and fell, alive, just unconscious. My wife held my daughter tight, whispering over and over, "It's okay, baby. It's okay. Daddy's here." I holstered my weapon, exhaled once, and grabbed my phone. 911, I said, voice steady. Armed intruder posing as an HOA officer. He assaulted my daughter. Shots fired. He's down. Send deputies and EMS. The dispatcher asked if he was breathing. I looked at him. Barely. Yeah. But he's not waking up anytime soon. I ended the call and checked the front door, blown open from his forced entry. My daughter clung to my shirt. My wife held her tighter than ever. Sirens began echoing faintly in the distance, and none of us knew yet that the real storm was only minutes away. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe because the story is only going to get better. Deputy cruisers skidded to a stop in front of the house just as the ambulance doors swung open. Blue and red lights washed over the ramp, our porch, and the living room where my daughter sat wrapped in a blanket, trembling against my wife's chest. The fake HOA cop was barely conscious when medics lifted him onto the stretcher. 2 wounds, heavy bleeding, shock setting in. Not fatal, but enough to guarantee he wasn't getting up to enforce anything for a very long time. A deputy stepped toward me, eyes scanning my seal shirt, the pistol holster, the blood on the floor. "Sir, tell us exactly what happened." I pointed at my daughter, her hair tangled, her scalp already red and bruised. "He dragged my 15-year-old girl by her hair, inside my home. He refused to let go. I told him twice. He ignored me." The deputy looked toward Mia, her face wet, fists balled in her mother's shirt, and his jaw clenched. Another officer approached. "We checked her ring camera," he said. "It recorded everything." Good, because 5 minutes later, the HOA president herself, Barbara Kellerman, marched down the street like she thought she owned the whole neighborhood. She stormed up the walkway, chest puffed, finger out, screaming, "What did you do? My enforcement officer was completing a compliance action. You had no right to interfere." My wife stepped forward first. "He dragged our daughter by her hair," she shouted. "He broke into our home." Barbara didn't even look at Mia. She just waved her hand dismissively. "That girl has been a problem since day one. She violated HOA youth conduct. I sent him to bring her in for evaluation. It's standard procedure." The deputies stared at her like she had grown horns. Barbara kept ranting. "You should arrest him," she snapped, pointing at me. "He shot a community safety officer. This entire family is a disruption to." A third deputy walked up with a tablet in hand. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "we have your officer's phone." Barbara froze. "He was conscious long enough in the ambulance to give us his passcode." We reviewed his messages. The deputy scrolled and read aloud, "Grab the girl. Don't take no for an answer. Her parents need to learn. I'll cover you legally. HOA authority is final. And finally, I'll pay you extra if you do it today." Silence. Barbara's mouth fell open. She stumbled backward like the ground tilted under her. "That's taken out of context," she blurted. "He misunderstood. It was just a behavioral suggestion." The deputy shook his head. "You ordered the abduction of a minor. You sent an unlicensed, armed man to forcibly detain a 15-year-old girl. You lied about your authority. You forged your HOA documents." He stepped forward. "Barbara Kellerman, you're under arrest." My daughter watched as Barbara screamed, kicked, begged, but the cuffs still clicked shut around her wrists. Her charges stacked fast: attempted kidnapping, felony child endangerment, soliciting assault, impersonating lawful authority, home intrusion via agent, reckless endangerment of a minor, civil liability for emotional trauma. She got 18 years in state prison and fined $40,000. The medics confirmed what we already suspected. The fake HOA cop had slipped fully unconscious. Deep shock, possible internal bleeding, severe concussion. Will he wake up? I asked. They shrugged. Maybe. Maybe not. But if he does, he's facing years behind bars. I wrapped my arm around my daughter as the cruisers pulled away. And that's how a fake HOA cop learned the hard way that you don't lay a hand on a SEAL's child and walk away without consequences. What do you think, folks? Did I do that right thing by shooting the HOA cop? What would you have done if a fake HOA cop harassed your daughter? Tell me your thoughts. I would love to know. The end.